Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another weekend, more adventure. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen, back to another stick shift. Was admiring that beautiful 737 MAX, but that's not going to be my airplane. My airplane is an A321neo that's going to be rolling in here in a bit, and it's going to go out to Hawaii, so we got to perform an ETOPS check. So let's go. Time for fun. Here we go. All right, let's get this going. Give this beauty a little bit of oil. Oh, it's actually full. Don't need no oil at all. I've talked about this many times before. We service engine oils, we check engine oils. Even though it does not need any kind of servicing, the oil is obviously full, as you can see from the mark, we still have to document that it's not full. We'll just simply enter 0 within our database. And we'll do a quick little check of the IDG on both engines. Looking good. IDG standing for Integrated Drive Generator. This is what produces power, electricity for the airplane from the engine. The generator puts out 115 VAC, 400 Hertz. Inspecting the fluid levels on the IDG is reserved for the ETOPS check. Here's an interesting thing within the ETOPS check. Checking fluid levels is not considered dual maintenance. It's recommended 2 different people can check on it, but it's not required. But the catch is this. Let's say both of those IDGs were low on oil. Here's where maintenance comes in. Dual maintenance. I'm not allowed to service the other one if I service this one. The reasoning behind this is, let's say if I inadvertently made a mistake servicing the first IDG and I do the same thing on the other one, that means I have just made a mistake twice. In order to prevent a mistake from happening, we don't allow the same person to perform maintenance on that same item. Another person will have to service the other IDG, hence dual maintenance. It's just another safety factor, the human redundancy factor. Okay, my partner's gonna go do the inside. We're gonna go upstairs, or not upstairs, we're gonna go up there and check the APU real quick. There you go. There's your APU. There you go, this is your APU. Oil level looks good. If we wanted to service it, it'd simply be this right here. Lift that up, and the cap will pop open. But yeah, there you go. Very nice. Here's your generator. There's your starter up there. And all sorts of valves back there. Pretty cool. 131-9A, Honeywell. They make good APUs. APU, the auxiliary power unit, providing the aircraft when on ground and sometimes when in the air with electricity as well as bleed air, pneumatics. But for some reason, when it comes down to the narrow bodies, we physically have to go up there and check the APU oil levels. as well as do a quick little inspection visually. This is also part of the ETOPS check on the narrow body aircraft. Interestingly enough, on the wide body aircraft, we don't have to go up there and physically check it. We can just simply check it through the parameters within the flight deck. I opened up the other side of the cowling as well to let you see what it looks like on the other side of the APU. Here's a nice little schematic if you're curious about the component and component location within this APU. It's much like any other gas turbine engine. If you have further questions on any of these components, feel free to ask in the comments. I will address those. The reasoning behind this, because I don't want to get stuck on this portion of the video. We got more work to do. So again, ask your questions. I'm always here for you. All right, let's keep on moving. One thing I will mention though is the operating conditions of what this APU is capable of. Since the APU can provide bleed air to start the engines, it's also able to provide bleed air to start within altitude, but there's a limitation, ranging from a negative 2,000 feet elevation up to 15,100 foot elevation. You're gonna ask yourself, you can't have negative 2,000 altitude. Yes, you can. Some places are below sea level. Within altitude, or flight operations as they call it, the maximum altitude that you can run the APU, or excuse me, utilize bleed air from the APU is about 20,000 feet. Anything beyond that, you will not have bleed air. You'll just have electricity because the generator is still running. And the generator will provide about 90 kVA. Starting the APU at very high altitudes is also possible. Maximum altitude is about 41,000 feet, which is pretty much the ceiling of the Airbus 321neo. But this is only if the transformer rectifier units are used. If the batteries are used to start up the APU, then the maximum ceiling would be about 25,000 feet. But anyway, just some random facts I thought you guys might enjoy. Okay, let's keep moving. And a quick little inspection of the wheel well, as always. Come on down. There's your barking dog. Woo! Oh man. Looking good. Emergency generator looking mighty fine. Another successful ETOPS check. It brings me so much joy to watch this because this is my product. This is what I do. And I asked the tug driver, hey man, can I hitch a ride? He said, yeah man, jump on, Stig, film this. I'm like, let's go, buddy. So he did this beautiful pushback, and gonna share it with you right here. He did a phenomenal job, and it brings just unlimited joy to my heart, knowing that these wonderful people on board, the souls on board, are going on a beautiful vacation to Hawaii, and they're going to enjoy it, and they're going to fly safe too. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking. Enjoy the pushback. Let's go. Next office. So walking around and I'm like, this airplane's tail number does not really matching its Neo, but it is a Neo. XV, X-Virgin. That's an X-Virgin or X-Alaska bird. We'll go check out the interior. Interior is completely different too. It's pretty cool. So this thing just came in from Miami and going right back up. I don't know why they turned it off, but it's all right. Yeah, totally different configuration than ours. I've shown you guys this before. I came in, I think, a few months ago, but they mostly keep these on the East Coast. Guess this one's a little bit out of rotation, but it's gonna go right back to the East Coast anyway. Pretty cool. That's all the time I had to show off the X-Virgin aircraft, but as I said, those things are usually reserved on the East Coast, and this one came out of rotation and flew to LAX. They definitely have a very interesting configuration within the cabin, very different from my carrier. Regardless of that, it was a pretty busy morning. We had rotation of airplanes coming in and out consistently, almost less than 30 to 40 minute turnarounds. So quick turns. A lot of you always ask, how do the pilots know when to stop when they're pulling into a gate? Well, here you go. This is going to be a prime example because I'm going to show you the guidance system and how the airplane pulls in. Pilots will follow the guidance system, whether turn left or right to stay on the center line, and the guidance system will also tell them when to stop. Another happy airplane. This one just came in from Philly and going out to Dallas. Yeah, all good to go. Easy day. Oh, I think somebody, I remember, asked me something. Last week I talked about what these little rails are for, which are for the flight bags, for the flight crew. But somebody noticed this, disk storage. Well, in the olden days, nav data used to be loaded by old floppy disks. So you'd have a little unit right here. But now there's a data loading unit that just gets connected, and that's how you would load your nav data. But the compartments, the old school compartments, stayed. But it's just the way it is. Now it's just storage. That's all. So if you're flying around and you sit down, you buckle yourself in, but you happen to sit down one of these seats, you're gonna find this kind of seat belt with a big cushiony pad in there. Well, that's an airbag. That's right. It's because of how much distance you have from the partition. So yeah, works off of G-forces, just like a regular car. It works off of a gas generator system. It has a little bottle there. It's a small little bottle encapsulated within that area. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's CO2. The system is independently supplied by a battery. So any kind of forward force movement, G-forces, it will activate the system. It will simply deploy an airbag around your waist, preventing any kind of further, injuries if there is some kind of abrupt stop. What can I tell you, folks? This is the compromise between airlines and the FAA and how they cram the seats within airplanes. More seats means more revenue. The safety standards also have to apply. Guys, don't point a finger at me. I don't make the rules. I just maintain the airplane. Just letting you know. But anyway, enough about this. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to show you something very unique and special. A retirement of a 777 captain. Let's go. Bag. Oh yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Nice and soft too. It's getting hot out there. Here's something very, very special. A beautiful moment. And a kind of a sad moment too. That is one of our captains. And that's his retirement. That's his last flight in that beautiful 777. The airlines and the airports give the honor to the captain that is retiring with a water cannon salute. It is their final flight on that aircraft within their career in that airline. As I said, it's a beautiful and also a sad moment. Stood there for a second and I reminisced my own retirement. Whenever that comes, I wonder, what honor do aircraft mechanics receive? A pat in the back? A pizza party? Some sort of appreciation from the airline? But as I thought about it more, it's the colleagues, the people that you work with. Those are the people that appreciate that you're there. Spending countless days and years upon each other, these people become friends. No, they become family. See them more than your family anyway. They become your brothers and sisters. We watch each other grow old. We share stories. We share our life with each other. It's hard to see a colleague retire. Well, that's something you don't see every day. I mean, I know what it is, that's a 330, but that's just not any 330. That's a very special one. Who does that belong to? Can you guys see that? Well, the reason it's special is because it's actually a tanker. After a bit of research, I finally found out this is the Royal Netherlands Air Force Fleet. This is a pretty rare sight. You don't get to see an A330 tanker. Not as often as you think. I don't know what it was doing here in LAX, but it was here. But I'm glad I got to see it. Shout out to the Netherlands. I say it and I say it and I'll say it over and over. Cargo never disappoints. Oh no, it does not. A beautiful singer, but that's not the prize. These are the prizes. Yeah, that's exactly what you think it is. That's a Formula One car. And a Lambo. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh, I know what that is. That's a rare car right there. We're gonna go take a look. A quick little peek inside this Porsche. You know me, I love Porsches. That's a beauty. Like that. But that's the prize. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is something gorgeous. That is something else. Later on, I found out this is actually a very special car. Obviously, it's a Formula One car, and if you are a fan of Formula One, much like I am, you'll know exactly where this came from. This is Michael Schumacher's car. And if you don't know who Michael Schumacher is, you need to go look him up. He is the greatest Formula One racer in history of Formula One. But that's my opinion. My heart got filled just standing next to this vehicle because I know a legend sat in that vehicle and raced it. I'm sorry, I'm just a big fanboy of Michael Schumacher. Also his brother and his son that's racing. I don't know what this is, but it's incredible looking. Look at this thing. Wow. That's just immaculate. I have no idea what this thing is. I haven't yet had the time to look it up, but from just looking at it, it looks straight out of a Dick Tracy comic book novel. That's what it looks like. Amazing. A couple of Bentleys, but last but not least, this thing. I think this is a Porsche 939, if I'm not mistaken. 959, that's what I meant to say, not 939. With matching white rims as well. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a beautiful vehicle. This is something I would like to drive. What a beauty. This is such a rare model of Porsche that I needed to do more research, and I found the vehicle, and you can see it right there. Check out that website. It's literally written out top right there. RMS, I can't pronounce it anyway, .com. Go check it out. It's right there for you. You can see the information about this vehicle. Not only that, this thing was a prototype. It's an incredibly rare Porsche. Lunch break is over. Come on, let's go. We got to go back to the line. We got more airplanes to work on. As I was servicing this beautiful V2500 engine, I noticed something. The thing on the side right here, do you see these little ports? Hold on, I'm going to shine some more light on this. Well, these two little ports are actually the same thing that I'm doing right now, servicing the oil. These are called quick disconnect fittings. You can service the engine with oil with this unit right here, or these ports. One is a service port, one is an overflow port. In order to utilize them, you would need a bowser or an oil bowser. You would simply attach a service fitting or the service hose and then an overflow fitting, and you would pump up the fluid or the engine oil. Since we have oil carts, I don't need to do that, but you can. The CFM56 engines used to have this as well. To be specific, the CFM56-5B equipped on the Airbus, but they removed them for some reason. I think it was some kind of a service bulletin, but in any case, this is the bowser that I'm talking about. Look. It coincides with the quick disconnect fitting right there. We would simply attach that right there with an overdrain or overflow hose and pump up the engine oils. Alright. There's our last office. Came in from Philly, going right back out to Philly. A quick walk around, make sure everything's okay. That is it for today. Nice and easy. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. I'll see you bright and early in the morning. All right, don't forget the coffee. Later. Rise and shine, everybody. Good morning. Let's go. Day 2. Here comes our first airplane. Time to go to work. Look at that. This one's got a brand new tire. That's a one clean looking rim. There you go. Nice, nice. This one is just like yesterday, actually, also going out to Hawaii. This one's going out to OGG. So, same thing, ETOPS inspection, or ETOPS check. Quick little inspection of the forward and aft cargo. This is the forward on the 321neo. Looking good. Smoke detectors are good. Fire nozzles looking good. All the blowout panels are looking good. Nothing's loose. I think I've talked about this one before, right? So these panels, they're protection for the blowout panels because you don't want luggage getting lodged up against a blowout panel and not causing it to blow out, just in case there was a decompression. So they put these here, making sure it doesn't get obstructed. That's all it's for. Cool. So far, so good. So you know how I showed you guys the decompression panels down in the cargo pit? Well, there's also decompression panels here in the cabin, down by the sidewalls, right here. It looks like a decorative color, but actually behind us is a decompression panel, better known as a dado panel. There you go. They work much like the decompression panels within the cargo pit. It is there to equalize the pressure within the cabin of the aircraft in case there is a rapid decompression. The only difference is within the cabin, there's a decorative cover that's in front of it, as I said earlier. But behind that decorative cover, there is a functional decompression panel. The actual decompression panels that move are installed on the interior portion of that surface area that you're seeing. It is a very simple design, small little place that can blow inwards or outwards. The top edge of the plate is attached with a half hinge to the back wall and can move inboard and outboard depending on the type of decompression you're having. The pressure difference value between the cabin and the cargo compartment, well, that's necessary to release any kind of, as I said again, decompression. So to support this, the panels are rigged for about 0.05 HPA, or in regarding to HG, it's about 0.0014 inches HG. I just realized, let me translate that for you. Hectopascals or inches of mercury. That's how pressure is usually measured. Both Boeing aircraft and Airbus aircraft have this. Anyway, let's keep on going. You gotta love the last minute write-ups. It's funny. The captain's boom mic all of a sudden stopped working. So, went and got him another one. It's a brand new one now. Would you believe this thing costs almost 300, well actually $300 for this one little boom mic? Crazy. Next office. Nothing but narrow bodies these past couple of days. So good. Well, it looks like this one came in and it had a transit check, so, and oxygen, one of the bottles, is a bit out of limits. That one right there. Minimum has to be for our transit checks is about $13.50. This is below. So we just gotta change a bottle. All right, let's get to it, easy. I've shown you guys this before, it's super duper easy. Clamp here, the overpressure line, and the main supply line. But the number one thing you do, turn off the valve first. Turn it off. Once it's off, then you can start working on it. Super. Guys, you have to understand, I'm only showing you bits and pieces of what I'm doing. There's a lot more that goes with this. You have to pull a circuit breaker, collar it, put warning labels. This is why I'm working with a partner. My partner is helping me out. I'm doing the manual labor while he's doing the other process of the job, such as what I mentioned, the breakers, also pulling a new bottle for me from stock, and as well as taking care of the paperwork. The crew bottle, and by the way, this is only for the flight crew. Passengers have a completely separate system. They have oxygen generators above their head. I've talked about that many times before. There are certain aircraft that are equipped with oxygen bottles just for the passengers, but again, that's just different airlines and different configurations. Right now we're focusing on this bottle, and this bottle is only for the crew. Right now, what you see me doing here is obviously we turn the bottle off and disassembling. It's very easy and a simple process. Just take the things apart and follow the maintenance manuals. And if you are curious, where are my maintenance manuals? They are on my tablet or my iPad. Everything is digital. The tablet is literally hanging off of my shoulder. But I have done this job thousands of times. I know exactly how to do it. Not much has changed. If there's something that is different, I can always reference back to the manual and see and follow along. But otherwise, it's a pretty cut and dry process. The other thing you have to understand when working with oxygen, especially aviators breathing oxygen, is that it is very moisture-free oxygen. And on top of that, you have to have very clean tools. Grease or any kind of dirt and pure oxygen do not mix well. A potential for explosion. This is why there's many cautions and warnings within the maintenance manual telling you, make sure you have clean tools. After removing the pressure source as well as the overpressure source from the regulator right there, now I move on to the clamps and then just literally pick up the bottle and take it out. And this is the new style of bottle, which is a composite. Very lightweight. The old ones were steel and heavy as heck. This thing is light as a feather. I can pick it up with my pinky finger if I wanted to. You would guess it, the process goes right back in reverse. Same thing as I took it off and I put it back on. A few minor adjustments, making sure the bottle is in correct orientation. Adjusting the rubber bands that are around, that goes around the clamp right there on the body of the bottle. And everything else, just put it back together. Obviously there's torque involved as well as a leak check process. The actual changing of the bottle literally took about 15 to 17 minutes overall. This is not including the paperwork. That's a whole separate issue. But I'm going to fast forward to this so you guys don't have to, I don't want you to be bored. Anyway, fast forward now. Now the question is going to come up from my fellow technicians of saying, why don't you just service the bottle on site with a cascading system bottle service? Well, within our station, we have a dedicated oxygen bottle shop. That's why we replace the bottles instead of servicing them. We'll just replace the bottle. The old bottle will go to the oxygen shop, get rehydrostated and reserviced. And we will always have new oxygen bottles on hand from stock. All done with the process. Now we slowly open up the bottle, quarter turn at first, and then we can fully open it because you don't want to surge the system. Then afterwards, we use soapy fluid to make sure there's no leaks. And just kind of shake up the bottle and kind of pour the foamy portion of the substance onto the joints or the fittings, making sure you don't get no excessive bubbles. No bubbles, no troubles. And that's exactly what we had. Always clean up your area. Make sure your surroundings are all picked up and there's no FOD around, especially within inside the avionics base. and a quick little opportunity to show you guys around within the avionics bay, or one of them within the Airbus 321neo. Oh, by the way, there's a secondary bottle. It's literally right behind me. One of my biggest things that gives me a big smile on my face is the pilots, because the pilots, as well as all the viewing public, you guys don't get to see this stuff, so it's an honor for me to be able to show this. But the pilots themselves that fly the aircraft, they're metal. They never see this. And when they get to see this, what's inside the airplane is a miraculous and incredible thing. I want them to see the incredible engineering that goes behind what they fly. I want you to understand the systems behind the aircraft. Anyway, job is done. Let's keep moving. So I'm going to ruin something for you. Well, a friend of mine ruined it for me. So obviously this is a British Airways 777, but take a look at the lettering. British Airways. Because of the paint and the door configuration on the R2 door, it looks like it says British Airways. Yep, enjoy that. You're never gonna unsee it, much like me. To the buddy of mine that showed me this, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm gonna put you on my blacklist now. I'm just joking, guys, but the fact of the matter stands, it literally reads British Airways. Oh man. Good luck on seeing that. Next! Nope, not that one. I got my own. 737, next office. Let's go. We're back to international. Our lovely 737-800 came in with a slight problem, and the problem was the pressurization valve, or the outflow valve, was not acting correctly. It went into alternate mode. Well, let me correct myself. It had a auto fail light for the outflow valve, and which the pilots had to switch to alternate mode. Now there's three modes to this. There's auto, alternate, and manual. We needed to perform an operational check, or ops check, or a bite check, built-in test equipment, that's what it's called, and make sure both of the cabin pressure control boxes are understanding what's happening, or making sure there's no active faults. The 737 boxes where you can perform these operational checks are all down within the E&E bay, the equipment bay, or the electronics bay. They're very rudimentary, they're very analog, it's very basic. You have to cycle through them and you have to get to the right information. Eventually, we're going to get to a portion where it has to have a self-test function. This is where I always say Airbus is always a much superior aircraft. You will never have to go down inside the equipment bay to perform such tests. You can simply do it from the flight deck. But overall, we did the performance test on both the computers and both passed. The performance test itself cycles the outflow valve open and close, making sure there's no discrepancies within the functionality of the pressurization system. Well, let me rephrase that. More likely no malfunction within the outflow valve itself. And here's what it looks like. The actual outflow valve moving open and closed. My partner captured this while I was performing the test within the bay. As you know, this is the outflow valve. This is what regulates the pressurization within the aircraft. It is constantly modulating open and close to keep nominal pressure within the aircraft. All said and done, the faults were cleared, there was no issue, and the aircraft did not have any kind of a history in regards to this type of fault. I even went back 90 days of history of the airplane. No problems at all, just a slight glitch. And here's the light that I'm talking about right here. What the pilot saw is this little light getting illuminated, the auto fail. They switched the system into alternate mode, but you also have a manual mode. Alternate mode will continue to function as normal and pressurize the aircraft. But when you go into manual mode, you can physically open and close the outflow valve and pressurize the aircraft, or depressurize it. Here we go, last flight of the night. As always, last ones end up staying here. Just finished up oiling this thing. That's about it. Hope you guys all have fun. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Later. The following day, I got assigned to the brake riding crew, as I usually always do on my Friday. It's the way of crew chiefs giving a break to the mechanics that work throughout the whole week. But it was a very easy day. I thought I had more airplanes to move, but it was only one airplane, and here it is. Enjoy. Welcome back, everybody. We're off to a little bit of a late start, but it's all right. Here comes our first airplane, and we're back on the move crew with a brake ride again. Let's go. Here we go. As always, set it up, let's go for a ride.
37 Mike Heavy on the ground, runway 25 right taxi via Bravo. Runway 25 right taxi via Bravo, flash speed 37 Mike. Delta 20, Telegram, continue Yankee to Walmart. Yankee to Walmart, Delta 20.
Ground Alaska 1278, Charlie 8, what's Charlie right taxi?
Alaska 1238.
Affirmative, 1238.
Alaska 1238, runway 24 left taxi, Charlie, November short, November 2.
Charlie, November short, November 2. Super 24 left Alaska 1238.
Alaska 1238, new departure frequency 124.3.
24.3 Alaska 1238.
Ground is American 42 Bravo, Charlie 9 for Charlie 5.
American 42 Bravo, Yankee Bravo, Charlie 5.
Bravo Charlie 5, American 42 Bravo.
Last 309, Charlie 6, double back, please.
Charlie 6, double back Alaska 309.
Air China 983, heavy taxi Lima to the city ramp.
Taxi Lima to the city right, China 993,
Today. Air China 983, heavy taxi Kilo to the ramp.
Taxi Kilo to the right, China 993.
French 37 Mike Heavy at Bravo. Disregard. French 37 Mike Heavy at Bravo, give way to American.
Give way to the American, French 37 Mike Bravo, heavy.
JetBlue 2073 on the ground, taxi Bravo Charlie 9er.
Bravo Charlie 9er, JetBlue 2073.
American 2719 on the ground, taxi Bravo Charlie 9er.
Bravo Charlie 9, American 2719. Ground Alaska 1050, come up on checkpoint on Yankee for 63 Bravo.
Last 1050 on the ground, taxi Bravo Charlie 8.
Bravo Charlie 8, Alaska 1050.
Negative United 2293 Charlie, 7 Alley, taxi with information Delta. Yeah, 2293 on the ground, runway 24 left, taxi via Charlie, November, hold short November 2. 24 left, taxi to Charlie, November, hold short November 2, United 2293.
7282, now coursing on 825 right by Juliet.
Agent 282, have the ground, roger, taxi Bravo Charlie 1.
Bravo Charlie 1, Agent 282.
American 2719, at Juliet, give way to the heavy 74. At Juliet, we'll give way to the heavy 74, American 2719. American 162, checkpoint 2, our gate occupied 10 to 12 minutes. American 162, ground, roger, hold short of Charlie for now. Hold short of Charlie, American 162. Lock the 1050, give way to the heavy at Papa.
Give way to the heavy at Papa, attempted.
American 2719 at Charlie, give it to United. Alright, Charlie, give way to the United, American 2719. Chevy 27-3, able to pull on? Roger. Yeah, 2293, departure frequency 124.3, we didn't get that one. 24-3, we got a United 2293. Thanks. American 2719, traffic no factor now. Alright, traffic no factor, 2719.
The day went very smoothly and very easily. This was the only aircraft I had to brake ride. As we were pulling up to the parking area, the aircraft stopped, or the tug driver stopped the aircraft because there was obstruction. The cargo personnel were moving pallets and containers. We didn't want to damage the aircraft, so we waited for them to go on by so we can bring the aircraft in. Which this leads me to this conversation right here, because many of you have asked, why did this happen? This happened a couple of days ago. An Airbus A350 collided with the RJ900. Don't mind the Southwest doing V1 speeds. They taxi so fast. So anyway, let's get back to the topic. So I'm going to give you my opinion on this. If you guys want a pilot's perspective, I highly recommend you go check out Blancoria's channel. Juan Brown, you guys all know him. He does a very detailed, in-depth discussion on what happened here and his opinion as well. But from a maintenance perspective, this is what I think happened. This is a case of situational awareness. There's multiple factors why this occurred. One of which is ATC, and second would be the pilots of the A350. You can't say much about the RJ because the RJ was parked. It was holding short of a runway. Now, I've taxied airplanes many times throughout my career, even gone onto taxiways and runways. When you hold short of a runway, you don't put your nose gear right on that line. When they tell you to hold short, you usually want to put that line visually ahead of you. You want to see the line. Now, I don't know the exact distance of what that RJ was parked, but as the A350 is taxiing up, they need to look outside as they taxi. I understand that many aircraft out there that are very big, which is having wide wingspans, and sometimes even looking out the window, you can't see your wingtips. But you can see what's coming up ahead of you. Pilots usually have very good understanding of their wingspan on the size of their own aircraft and where they can fit and not fit. If you're taxiing up and something looks kind of close, you'd say, hey, you know what, let's slow down, let's ask for instructions. But according to the ATC chatter, which is already out in public, the pilots did not even know what they hit. That means they were not even looking outside.
Hold for the Victor, advise me when you're ready.
All right, we just hit something on the taxiway. Could you tell us what it was? Ground, Delta 295.
You know, I just noticed that the tail on the RJ is missing. So Endeavor 5526, hold your position, and do you require any immediate assistance?
We're holding our position and stand by on no immediate assistance. We'll need a tow though.
As you see, they didn't even know what they hit. Here's the secondary portion of what I think happened. ATC. ATC put a wide-body jet in a very tight corridor with a narrow-body jet, or a regional. ATC is a very stressful job. They have to control everything that's on the ground, moving airplanes around and giving them instructions. ATC allowed that 350 to keep on rolling, knowing that there was a RJ parked there waiting to get onto the runway. The 350 pilots, probably busy with their checklists, did not look outside. More so the first officer. Remember, most of the times in companies, the captain is the one doing the taxiing, and the FO is probably handling the radios and just looking outside. I guess this one just slipped away, and they were not paying attention outside. And brings me back once again saying situational awareness. It's one of those that got away. The good news is nobody got hurt. Everybody walked away safely, and investigation is going to take place, obviously, and they'll get to the bottom of this. Once again, guys, this is just my sole opinion. Don't come at me with pitchforks. Don't get angry with me if I said something incorrectly. Feel free to correct me. I encourage that. If you got something to teach me, please teach me. I'm just having my own opinion here. But overall, Delta Maintenance Tech Ops, they're going to have their hands full. They got 2 jets to fix. But I assure you they will fix them, and these airplanes will come back to being airworthy once again. One good thing about aviation and aviation safety is that we learn very, very quickly. Even when mistakes happen or occurrences like this happen, we learn extremely fast. New policies get put in, new safety standards get put in. We ensure that this does not happen again. That's why aviation is such a safety-driven environment and culture. Anyway, enough about this. Let's get back to the moving airplanes because we're coming towards the end of our adventure. There you go. That was fun. Looks pretty cool like this, huh? Here, take a screenshot. Matter of fact, let's do Christmas lights too. Pretty awesome. Anyway, we're done here. On to the next one. Let's see. Pump off. Beacon off. That's off. You know what? We can turn the lights on too. Much nicer like this. Adderus don't need to be on anymore. That's it. It's gonna start kicking up faults because it's coming off of alignment and configuration. So there you go. Otherwise, APU off. Just waiting for the APU inlet door to close and we can shut down the batteries and no more ship power. Well, that's actually kind of not true. You still have some power because the clock will always be running no matter what. As long as the batteries are attached, the clock will always run. One last tidbit of information here. As I said, the clocks are always running because they're hardwired into the battery. The display will shut down, as you see right here, but internally the clock is still running all the time. Now, this is okay when an aircraft stays overnight and we shut the airplane down. It's still going to monitor the clock and still drawing a little bit of voltage. Not enough for the aircraft battery to completely drain, but let's say if the aircraft is staying a prolonged amount, let's say 3 days, 4 days, or a week on ground, then we will disconnect the battery to prevent it from draining. Remember back in COVID days when all of aviation pretty much came to a standstill and there was a lot of airplanes that got parked. Either they were in long-term storage or short-term storage. At that point, we basically covered up all the important pieces, pitot tubes, engines, and whatnot, and we also disconnected the batteries. The batteries are also smart because there's some aircraft out there that have a self-protection in there. For example, this Airbus, it has a self-protection for the battery. If it dips down below a certain voltage, it will disconnect itself. This is when the battery switches are engaged. But like I said, the internal clock is still running, so if you leave it on like that, it will eventually drain the batteries. If the batteries do get drained all the way, there is a way to recharge them via either ground power get them to sufficient charge, and then start the APU, and that will also charge the batteries. But if it gets to a certain point where it just will not retain charge, at that point we will simply just change the batteries. Now, that's about it for batteries. Let's go. We gotta get out of here because the shift is almost over. Well, would you believe it? There was only one airplane for me to move. Everything came in a little bit late, so can't move it when it's not here. But it is what it is. Hope you guys had fun. That's it for this weekend's adventure. I'll see you all later. Take care. As always, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And feel free to leave your comments down below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. I'll see you all on the next adventure. Stig, signing out.